Today, we dive deep into the broken heart of three characters who were born to be villains, but dared to try to be something more. Zuko, the exiled prince who burned his own face to seek honor. Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch who twisted reality trying to fix what she lost. And Vegeta, the proud warrior who turned anger into strength and guilt into redemption. But in the end, who truly redeemed themselves? Is redemption a destination or an eternal choice? In every universe, be it in anime, Marvel Comics, or the intergalactic sagas of pop culture, there is a type of character that attracts us almost magnetically: the villain who tries to change. It's no coincidence. The idea of redemption touches something deeply human: the hope that no one is condemned forever, that even the darkest mistakes can be repaired, with pain, courage, and sacrifice. In the world of Avatar, The Last Airbender, everything revolves around balance. The world is divided into elemental nations: fire, water, earth, and air, and the Avatar is the link between them. But what happens when someone like Zuko, son of the Fire Lord, is raised to believe that conquest is more important than understanding? In Marvel, the multiverse is vast, but trauma is a universal language. Wanda Maximoff, marked by wars, losses, and experiments, never had time to be just an ordinary person. When she finally tried, the world collapsed around her. And in Dragon Ball, where strength is the measure of everything, Vegeta started as Goku's cruel enemy, a prince of an extinct people consumed by pride and pain. But throughout the sagas, something changed, and the fight that was once for power became an internal battlefield. Why does this matter? Because we have all made mistakes. We've made decisions out of anger, fear, or despair. And when we see characters who have fallen get back up, not perfectly, but real, we feel that maybe, just maybe, we can too. Zuko, Wanda, and Vegeta aren't examples of redemption because they did everything right. They are mirrors, imperfect, cracked, that show us that change is hard, but possible. And today, we will find out which of these mirrors reflects the true journey of redemption most powerfully. Zuko. In the world of Avatar, The Last Airbender, Zuko begins as the typical antagonist, arrogant, obsessed with capturing the Avatar, and thirsty to regain his honor. But this quest was not born from pride. It was born from pain. Son of Ozai, the tyrant Fire Lord, Zuko grew up in a home where compassion was seen as weakness. When he dared to question a brutal military decision, he was challenged to a duel, not by a soldier, but by his own father. The Sai, result? A scar that crosses half of his face, a physical and emotional mark of rejection. Exiled, Zuko travels the world with his uncle Iroh, trying to prove he is still worthy of his father's approval. But the more he chases the Avatar, the more he confronts the consequences of war and the truth about himself. Zuko doesn't change overnight. He betrays, hesitates, retreats. But slowly, he learns to listen, to feel, to choose. And perhaps his greatest act of redemption wasn't abandoning the Fire Nation, but forgiving himself enough to stop trying to please someone who never loved him. Fun fact, the character Zuko was inspired by Shakespearean tragedy archetypes, a prince torn between destiny and desire. Lines like, "I don't know if I'm good or bad, I think I'm confused," reveal a rare emotional maturity for young protagonists. Wanda Maximoff. Wanda is simultaneously one of the most powerful and tragic characters in Marvel. Raised alongside her brother Pietro in Sokovia, she lived under the shadow of war and loss. Her powers, activated by experiments with the Mind Stone, transformed her into something far beyond human. But it was Pietro's death, and then visions, that triggered the real emotional bomb. In WandaVision, we see what happens when someone with reality-altering powers refuses to accept grief. Westview becomes her emotional prison, A world where vision is alive, her children exist, and pain is kept at bay, at the cost of everyone else's freedom. Wanda is not a traditional villain. She doesn't want to rule the world. She just wants the right to live something she was denied. But the price is high, and the line between victim and oppressor begins to fade. Her most impactful moment? When she chooses to undo everything. When she faces loneliness again, by choice. Fun fact, the series WandaVision was acclaimed for bringing a deep and symbolic approach to grief, using each episode as a metaphor for a different stage of pain, from denial to acceptance. Vegeta entered Dragon Ball Z like a storm, cold, ruthless, an interplanetary assassin serving Frieza. The Prince of Saiyans carried the weight of a destroyed people and the fury of someone who refuses to be weak. But instead of remaining a villain, Vegeta chose an unexpected path. He begins training alongside Goku, but always in his shadow. Anger moves him. Pride guides him. But something changes when he starts a family on Earth, especially with Bulma and Trunks. He is still arrogant, explosive, but now there is love behind the fury. His most symbolic moment of redemption? When he sacrifices himself against Majin Buu. For the first time, Vegeta fights not for himself, but for Earth, and proudly says, "Trunks, take care of your mother." Vegeta died a hero, but returned even more human. Able to laugh, hug his son, and even admit that Goku was better, though that hurt, of course. Fun fact: Vegeta was the character voted with the best development arc in international Dragon Ball polls, even surpassing Goku. His phrase, "This is who I am," in the Tournament of Power became a symbol of identity and overcoming. Guilt, the engine of change. Guilt is often the first step to redemption, but it acts differently in each character. Zuko feels guilt for having chased the Avatar for years. He was complicit in the war, even without conviction, but his guilt turns into empathy. He begins to understand others' suffering and see the injustice of the world he once defended. He doesn't run from pain. He walks through it. Wanda, on the other hand, is submerged in devastating guilt. The loss of vision, the loneliness, the mistakes, all consume her. But what sets her apart is how she uses her powers to escape trauma, literally creating an alternate world. Her guilt paralyzes her. Only in the end, when she accepts grief, does transformation begin. Vegeta deals with guilt silently. He doesn't cry, doesn't confess, but he feels it, and feels it deeply. From his surrender to Frieza to the wounded pride of depending on Goku, Vegeta keeps guilt like a wound that strengthens him. His sacrifice against Majin Buu is the final proof that guilt doesn't define him, but drives him. Sacrifice, the language of redemption. Redemption demands losses. And here, the three shine in different ways. Zuko sacrifices what he desired most, his father's approval. He abandons everything, power, title, status, to do what he believes is right. He burns his own mask, breaks with the past, and chooses to be rejected by his nation to heal the world. Wanda sacrifices what she loves most, her fantasy of family. She built Westview with pain, but there found peace, children, love. Undoing that is losing everything again. And she does it, not with a smile, but with courage. The pain remains, but she no longer ignores it. Vegeta, well, he literally explodes. The physical, total sacrifice, knowing he might never come back. For the first time, he fights for something bigger than his ego, for Earth, for family, for honor, and in the end, even returning, he is never the same. Emotional transformation, from anger to love. Zuko begins angry, lost, but transforms by learning to listen, especially to Iroh. He learns that honor isn't something you take, it's something you live. Wanda moves from despair to acceptance. Her journey is marked by grief, yes, but also by an internal awakening. She sees herself for the first time as someone capable of mistakes and new beginnings. Vegeta transforms from proud warrior to father, husband, partner. Anger still exists. It's part of him, but it no longer dominates. He allows himself to feel love, and more importantly, he allows himself to be loved, even without fully understanding how. Cultural impact. The audience's favorite redeemer. Zuko became a symbol of a well-written arc. His growth is studied in videos, forums, and even writing classes. He represents the power of sincere remorse and gradual change. Wanda became a modern icon of female pain. Complex, powerful, misunderstood. Her story opened doors for a new approach to mental health in the Marvel Universe. It's no coincidence that WandaVision became a cultural phenomenon. Vegeta, the pride of otakus. No anime. Character perhaps has been so loved after being so hated. Vegeta is meme, reference, raw emotion. His phrase, Kakarot, before sacrificing himself is remembered as one of the most epic moments of Dragon Ball Z. Redemption is not a destination, it's a choice that must be made every day. This is the raw truth that unites Zuko, Wanda, and Vegeta. They didn't find magical forgiveness. None of them was saved, simply, because real redemption is imperfect. Zuko had relapses. He betrayed the Avatar's trust, hesitated before his father, and only understood who he was after burning all bridges with the past. His redemption was built in pieces, with guilt, forgiveness, and lots of silence. Wanda doesn't have a clear line between hero and villain. She caused pain, and suffered even more. But her journey is a painful reminder that broken people also deserve to start over, even if the world isn't ready for it yet. And Vegeta never formally apologized for everything he did. But every gesture, every sacrifice, every look at Trunks is a silent confession. He doesn't try to erase the past. He carries it and keeps fighting, not to be better than Goku, but to be someone his son can admire. And here is the turning point. True redemption is not about erasing mistakes. It's about living with them and still choosing good. Zuko looked at his burned face and decided to smile. Wanda destroyed the only world where she was happy, to free others. Vegeta exploded his own body, knowing he might never be forgiven, but still sacrificed himself. They are remembered not for being perfect, but for having fallen and risen with dignity. Redemption. A small word, but one that carries the weight of the world. Zuko, Wanda, and Vegeta came from different places, different worlds, but all had to face the same mirror, the reflection of who they became, and the decision to change. Zuko shows us that change demands courage, especially to admit we were wrong. Wanda reveals that grief can distort reality, but true love doesn't imprison. It frees. And Vegeta teaches that pride and pain can be fuel, but what really defines a warrior is what he protects. These three characters touch us because they bleed inside. And even so, they keep moving forward. They make mistakes. A lot. But they err trying to get it right. In the end, there is no champion of redemption. Because redemption is not a race. It's a long road, often lonely, where the greatest opponent is yourself. And maybe that's why we love stories like this so much. Because deep down, we all carry our own ghosts, our own scars. And seeing someone get up, even stumbling, reminds us that we can too. And now I want to know from you, which of these redemption stories moved you the most? Was it Zuko's inner fire, Wanda's grief shaped by magic, or Vegeta's broken pride? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I really want to read your perspective. And if this video touched you in any way, don't forget to hit like. It really helps the channel keep growing. Subscribe so you don't miss our next dives into the multiverse, always comparing heroes and villains like you've never seen before. Share it with that friend who loves broken but real characters. And if you enjoyed this journey, check out our other videos. There are analyses comparing legendary mentors, heroes with deep traumas, and much more. See you in the next Multiverse Reflection. Until then, keep fighting for your own better versions.